Even after 14 years, the haunting question remains: who abducted and killed Lyric and Elizabeth? 8-year-old Elizabeth Collins and her 10-year-old cousin Lyric Cook Morrissey, last seen on Friday the 13th, 2012, after the girls went out for a bike ride. Their bikes, a purse, a cell phone, other items found on the bike trail around Myers Lake in Evansdale. Dozens of area residents took part in an exhaustive search for the cousins, which also included draining of Myers Lake. But all these efforts failed to produce any sign of Lyric or Elizabeth. Hunters would later find the girls' bodies 20 miles north of Evansdale in a wooded area known as the Seven Bridges Park area of Bremer County. The unsolved crimes still haunt so many, as now the 14th anniversary of this mystery comes up on July 13th. Hi everybody, I'm Ron Steele, back out at the beautiful Angels Park Memorial Island in Evansdale, which pays tribute to Lyric and Elizabeth and so many others out here. You know, in the past few days I had a chance to sit down with Elizabeth's father, that's Drew Collins, and DCI Special Agent in Charge Scott Rieger for an update about this investigation, and also how the Elizabeth Collins Foundation is now moving forward to try to help solve other unsolved cases in Iowa.
Someday it's going to be our turn. So we're just, kind of just staying put where we're at, and we're just trying to be patient and keep the word out there that we're still looking for whoever did this.
Drew Collins remains very confident that someday this case will be solved. Scott Rieger is the DCI Special Agent in Charge. He says that citizen leads and tips continue to come in to this day to the Our Missing Iowa Girls email address, which is still in operation, originally set up by the Iowa Department of Public Safety 14 years ago. Agent Rieger says leads are always reviewed to see if they need a follow-up. Plus,
we're always trying to leverage new technology. So last year we talked about how the DCI lab had invested in some new software. That has come online. That's been online, I think, for almost a year now. And now what we're just waiting for is we've got some new hardware that is waiting to get validated at our lab. And it's scheduled to come online later this year. And so our hope is to take both the hardware and combine it with the software, and then use that for evidence that we have in this case.
Agent Scott Rieger and Drew Collins meet once a month to talk about this case, which of course remains so difficult for Drew.
After 14 years, I'm in a kind of a different place now. It's not as heavy as it was at first. You just kind of learn how to live with what's happened and kind of do your best to kind of get through it. So I'm in a kind of a different place now, I would say.
So what will it take to break this 14-year-old unsolved abduction and murder mystery?
It is the information that will continue to come in, that one extra piece that just wasn't there initially, coupled with comparing that with the investigation that we've already done. And then the final piece is this case will get resolved through technology as well, just continuing to leverage the technology as it advances.
As the investigation continues, Drew has turned his attention to helping other unsolved cases through the Elizabeth Collins Foundation. In fact, just recently, the foundation gave money to the Wenatchee County Sheriff's Office to pay for all of the expenses of exhuming a body to help solve a 40-year-old cold case of an unidentified, decomposed body discovered in 1986 in Wenatchee County.
We partnered with them in beginning to help lay out the process to identify who this was, and basically the body exhumation. As we started to talk about that, cost became something that people were asking the questions, hey, how could we pay for this? And Drew and I have, we grab coffee every month. And so I just thought, well, maybe this would be something that the Girls Foundation could utilize, because they've offered up financial assistance on the Evansdale case and some other instances. And so I think we just, one day when I was meeting for coffee with Drew, mentioned it to him, and the words were barely out of my mouth, and he was like, absolutely.
No, I've been telling Scott for a while that we want to do this. So if he ever had anybody that needed help, to let us know. And I was, like he said, he probably barely got it out that what he wanted, and I was already wanting to do it. So
not only was the initial disinterment brought up as a consideration, but we had to to plan in advance what happens if we can't identify this person and we have to rebury them, and some of the costs associated with that. So that was a kind of a hurdle we were working on overcoming, and luckily DCI helped us make the connection with Drew Collins, and he basically offered up a blank check and said, whatever we can do to help, just go ahead and get it done and we'll fund everything. So that's exactly what they did.
It made all the difference, and it goes to show that the difference this foundation is making. And I can tell you from talking to the Womack family, the difference it's made for them. They've lived a 40-year nightmare that they finally have some closure on.
But the Winnebago County case is a perfect example of 40 years ago. The idea to be able to identify unidentified human remains using DNA didn't exist. Fast forward 40 years, we can utilize that technology, and so we're confident that that's what will lead to the resolution.
Law enforcement agencies are encouraged to contact the Elizabeth Collins Foundation. Meanwhile, the Elizabeth and Lyric investigation continues in earnest even after 14 years, as Agent Rieger takes this case quite personally.
I don't think you truly appreciate this as an investigator until you actually get a case like this, or any homicide for that matter. But a particular case like this is you don't realize how much you end up becoming part of that person's family, because you have now intersected with their worst day in a way that other people just can't. So the case means to me, it's like it's Elizabeth and Lyric are more than just a name in a case file. They are girls with families and moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas and cousins and stuff like that.
And Drew hopes the Elizabeth Collins Foundation can help many other cases.
I think there's a lot of these cases out there that, with the new technologies that have come over the last even 10 years, could help a lot of these cases probably be solved. So,
Agent Scott Rieger does not like to speculate on any possible conclusions.
Speculation doesn't necessarily mean, and even leading in a direction doesn't mean that you close off everything else. But the familiarity that the person would have had with Seven Bridges and Evansdale is pretty compelling.
Be assured, even after 14 years, the Lyric and Elizabeth investigation is not a cold case.
I think that the biggest thing is, I've said this before when we've talked on prior occasions, is I don't like the term cold case. I know what it reflects, but just that people will continue to understand that unresolved cases, they never stop getting worked. And so we'll just continue to chisel away at this over and over and over again. And so I would want the public to know that as much as possible is we will just continue to we're not going anywhere.
and even though a lot of people are frustrated we're not getting answers fast enough, these things take time. Criminals, they still have all their rights that our Constitution gives us, and so they have to stay within those boundaries to solve these cases, and it's not easy sometimes, so it takes time. And I guess that's probably what I've learned is like being patient and just knowing that someday it is going to be solved, and just having that faith that that someday it will happen. And we just have to be patient and I don't want them to rush it and do something wrong and then this person walk away free. So I mean, it just takes time, it takes patience. It takes patience on their side too, that they want to solve it. So we just have to kind of just wait it out, I guess.
Investigators say any tip, large or small, could play a key role in this ongoing investigation. Contact Cedar Valley Crime Stoppers, Evansdale Police, or the Our Missing Iowa Girls email through the Iowa Department of Public Safety. There's also a large reward of at least $100,000 still being offered in the Lyric and Elizabeth unsolved case. And as I mentioned earlier this week, everyone is invited to the 14th annual Ride and Drive for Elizabeth and Lyric this Saturday morning, July 11th in Evansdale. As always, the Ride and Drive will start and finish at Lofty's Lounge. Registration begins at 8 o'clock, kickstands up at 11, and all vehicles are welcome to take part. In Evansdale, I'm Ron Steele.